Hello everyone and welcome back to another Warcraft 3 gameplay cast with me, Thendis32. Before we get things going, let me just get the volume and everything all set up so you can hear all the clashing and sounds of death. Alrighty, I found ourselves here a nice little thing I like to call Undead Mirror. It's a matchup you don't see that often, but when you see it, it's usually action-packed. Now personally, I hate playing this matchup, but it's really fun to watch, so let us introduce our players. Spawning as the red undead, it is 120. And his opponent, spawning as the blue undead, it is WFZ. Undead versus undead here on Ancient Isles. And the thing to keep in mind, in the early game of Undead Mirror, ghouls can be strong. But Ted Fiend builds can also be strong. A lot of times the way I see it in Undead Mirror is one undead is the aggressor and the other one is the one who's defensive. In the start of the undead game, it's basically who can get their tech off the quickest and get the bigger army. It's not like, say, in Human Mirror, like, I'm gonna expand, you expand, we're gonna wait a little bit, hack and smack at each other and try to get units out. No, in Undead Mirror, they just basically go all out. Now, towards the later game, you usually tend to see the same armies, Fiend Destroyers, maybe some A-bombs into the mix, as it looks like 120 will be doing some form of ghoul play. Whereas WFZ is doing the Ted Fiend build. So here's where we start to see the players do different strategies and different play styles, both going Death Knight first, might I add. Now, I feel like with 120's build order, he's going to be the aggressor. He's going to be the one with that early pressure. When I think WFC will be the guy that has to play defensive. He does scout that there is no graveyard, so he does know there's no fiends. Okay, I salvaged that. And with the Ted Fiend build, of course, just like in every other matchup you would see it in, you get the early Death Knight out, you get the Rod, and you move out and try to harass. Now, without a graveyard, WFZ won't be able to get some skeletons and harass the Acolytes of 120. So, it's a little bit of harassment's going to be weird, I'd say that. Meanwhile, 120 is creeping out the Ogre Magi camp. If he could get away with that, he could get a quick level 2, get that Unholy Aura, but WFC is hanging around. It really depends on how well he times the coils. He also has to make sure his Death Knight doesn't get surrounded. 120, he keeps going for it. He wants to get that surround. Be a very nice pickup at the start to make WFC use his TP. He is also making him back off, so the Ogres are getting some shots in. And the Skeletal Minions being very annoying to 120's Acolytes, forcing him to get a Nerubian Tower. Meanwhile, during all this, WFC has started his tech up to Tier 2, and 120's still at Tier 1. So the farther this goes on, the better it is for WFC. As an Undead Mirror, tech advantage is a huge deal. Hero level is also big, not very much on the Death Knight, mostly the Lich. You can't coil your enemy's units, but you can Nova them to death. Alright, 120 now starting his tech up to Tier 2. WFC hanging around, just being annoying, running about. Roasty doing. Looks like 120's gonna try to creep out those Ogres. Oh, who can get that coil? 120 gets the coil, level 2, Claws of Attack +6. Gonna be a great item for the Lich. Will WFC be able to get the Ogre Warrior? He's trying for it. Can he get it? He's waiting for it. Oh! Nice use of the stop command by 120. Wasting WFC's coil. Very nice start. WFC's Death Knight at 0 experience. He's a little bit over halfway to Tier 2 with 120 lagging behind a little. Oh. Ooh, ghouls trying to get something. Can they get it? I don't think they can. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be a close one. That Unholy Aura does make him a little bit quicker. WFC still hanging around. 120 is gonna try to creep out the Goblin Merchant camp. Oh, nice use of the stop command. Does get the troll. WFZ hanging around, trying to get that coil. Trying to snipe those creeps. Oh! Almost got his Death Knight surrounded. WFZ has to be really careful. Might be worth it to invest in boots of speed, but he can't get close to that shop. And it looks like 120 might be able to finish off that Null Overseer. It's gonna be close. Meanwhile, WFZ's at tier 2. He's getting the Lich's second hero choice. He has quite a bit of Fiends at home. And the Null Overseer did go down. The item was Replenishment Potion. It's an okay item. Get some mana back. Alright, we do see a Sacrificial Pit. Sacrificial Pit and no Slaughterhouse. This is different. Not really sure what that's about. Guess we'll wait and find out. Meanwhile, Fiends, if micro correctly, can kite away at these ghouls. And be able to get quite a bit of shots off. Meanwhile, 120 is now at tier 2, and it looks like he will be going gargoyles with that double crypt. So WFZ might want to invest in some web. He's going to need more wood for it, though. So it does cost around 150 wood and gold. Oh, he's getting a shade and a tech to tier 3. Could he go straight in the Frosties? That would be kind of funny if he did and got away with it. Now, if 120 is able to creep out this camp with no issues, he should get level 3. There it is. In most matchups, level 3 is pretty needed. I mean, it's nice to have in this matchup to have that stronger coil to heal your units, but it doesn't really help on your nuke. Alright. Frost Nova, WFZ stealing the experience of that Null Overseer. Wands of Illusion was the item, though. Coil onto the ghoul, but Frost Nova takes one out. And the Lich is so powerful when he comes out, especially versus ghouls who are kind of flimsy versus the Lich. Alright, WFZ backing his Death Knight out so the Lich can get more experience. Shade going into the base of 120, seeing what's what. He does see that 120's Lich is now out. Wand of Illusion used to scout. Where is he hiding those gargoyles? Oh, he's gonna use the gargoyles to creep out the red drake. See what super duper item he can get from him. I like this move. I might start doing this in my latter games. Scourge Bone Chimes. Not the greatest item for Gargs, but can be useful. More than likely it'll probably just get sold though. Alright, there's the Slaughterhouse. There's the statues. I guess WFZ just wanted that early shade. So it looks like he will be transitioning into the standard Fiend Destroyers.
A player's forces are under attack.
Or do we see a Slaughterhouse out of 120? No, looks like he'll be sticking with Ghoul Garg. Alright, WFZ creeping out the red spot. The super duper item is Healthstone. Good item. It's going to be switched on to the Lich. In Undead Mirror, you want that Lich as tanky as possible. Stock him up with potions. Stack him up with potions, scrolls, get all the good mumbo jumbo out. And WFZ does scout these gargoyles, so he does know that 120 is going to try to creep out this camp. He's a little far away for a creep jack, but this could make him one attack into his base. As we do see a Slaughterhouse now on the way, and I think 120 might try to get some statues into the mix. Meanwhile, WFZ is at tier 3s, getting web, got the Destroyer upgrade on Q. And a nice use of the shade, keeping track of 120's army, who is creeping out the red spot. Will WFZ try to go for the creep jack? I think he will. 120 needs to be so careful with that Death Knight. Oh, if that Death Knight can get Nova, no, he dies to the creeps. What? Oh, 120, you're so much better than that. Why'd you die to the creeps? Anyway, that's not a good thing to lose a level 3 hero like that. But I'm the kind of guy that likes to think of things in the best way possible, and WFZ technically didn't get the kill, so at least no experience was given to him, I suppose. Alright, it looks like 120 will be using his gargoyles. Try to see if they can snipe some acolytes of WFZ. I don't think they're going to get much done, though. They can hack and smack on that gold mine. Whereas WFC's continue creep. He should be able to get level 3 in both of his heroes, which will be very nice. They have that level 2 Frost Nova. And then claws of attack +9. So when that orb gets when the Lich gets the Orb of Corruption, whenever that may be, ooh, we see a Dark Ranger is the third hero choice for WFZ. Alright, Death Knight about halfway out of the altar, Fiends being added, so it looks like 120 is just trying to transition into Fiend Destroyers. But does he have enough time? That is the question. I don't know if he does. It's gonna be a weird one. Alright, that Dark Ranger should be switching the orb off. She does. Dust of Appearance reveals that shade. I like that. And if WC's got to be careful, even as undead, you really never want to push into an undead base. Alright, Lich going in. 120 buying time for his Death Knight to come out. He now comes out. He sells the Scourge Bone Chimes. Picks up some healing scrolls. WFZ does have web. We did see him research it, so if those gargoyles get too close... Alright, 120's going in. Web's going down on all the gargoyles, though. Frost Nova onto the Fiends. Oh, and the ghouls with the Frost Nova. Healing scroll being used. Silence going down by the Dark Ranger of WFZ. Destroyer did get webbed, though. And so many of 120's units are dying here, but I think the fight's going better for him. Oh, miscoil onto the Fiend. Lich getting caught in a bad spot. There's just so much going on here. Alright, Gargoyle goes down. The Lich of WFZ does get coiled. Frost Nova going down to 120's Fiends. So much going on here. I think 120's win this fight as another Frost Nova goes down by him. And one by one, WFZ's Fiends are falling. One will get coiled, though. Oh, boy. This fight was a mouthful. So far, it's not over. Another silence going down by WFC's Dark Ranger. Dark Ritual being used by the Lich. It says silence can be eaten up by destroyers, but 120 doesn't have any destroyers, actually. Oh, wait, no, because that's WFC. Duh. Anyway, it looks like WFC will be backing off. And after that fight, it's currently 36 supply for 120 versus 47 of WFZ. Alright, 120's Death Knight getting caught in kind of a bad spot, tanking a little damage there. Oh, but the Lich of WFC, the Death Knight of WFC, does have one coil. There it is. He's out of coils, though, so he's got to be careful here. WFC is running away into the base. 120 chase him down. We'll get his statue. Death Knight picking up an invuln pot. Probably going to switch it to Lich. Or did he? No, yes, he did. Alright, 120 is going to go into creeping. Definitely would like that level 3 Lich. As 120 also picks up a Dark Ranger for himself as his third hero choice. Alright, upgrade-wise, it's 0-0 versus 0-0.
A player's forces are under attack.
50 supply for WFZ versus 44, and it looks like we're going to have an engagement here. WFC going for the creep jack as he's going straight for the Fiends. Both players are. Nova's going down on both sides. Alright. Maybe not, because WFC's Lich was silenced. I can admit when I make a mistake. One thing I'd like to mention is WFC has the Temple of the Damned in his base. And it looks like he might transition into some Banshees. Do we see the temple out of him? For those of you that aren't familiar with Undead Mirror, Banshees is pretty late game, as their anti-magic shield does block them from being Nova'd and silenced. But I can't remember off the top of my head if destroyers could suck up the anti-magic shields. That I do not remember. Alright, both players creeping away. We're starting to get to that point in the game, though, where creep camps are getting scarce. And WFC going in again. The Dark Ranger 120 did get level 2. Alright, the Fiend's going straight on in there. Nova onto the Lich of 120. Gets coiled though. Not much happening though. More skeletons coming in. A lot of stuff going on. WFC does have that +1 damage upgrade, whereas 120 does not, and that might help him out quite a bit in this fight, as the Destroyer 120 gets webbed and coiled. Isn't enough though. No, it's not. Goes down. Alright, Fiend's getting focused down. Another silence going down from both of the players here. But 120's Fiends are dropping like flies here, and that +1 damage upgrade is helping greatly. Alright, both Liches with plenty of Novas as Novas keep going down. Fiends dying left and right on both sides. WFC's Death Knight taking a little too much damage though. He's got to back him up. And 120, what looked like a pretty bad fight for him, is looking pretty nice right now as another Fiend gets sniped by that Dark Ranger. And oh boy, things are getting intense up in here. I might take off my shirt. And after that fight, it's 47 supply for 120 versus 47 to WFC, who is starting to add those Banshees. I'm not sure if they have mastery training yet for possession, as W120 is also getting Banshees, starting that add up training. So both players starting to transition to that late game. WFC with +2 damage now, whereas 120 is still at 0-0. He is starting +1 though. And the Lich of WFC getting level 4 versus 120's level 3, but both of them still at level 2 Frost Nova, but WFC having that level 2 Dark Ritual now means more Novas. And we are pretty much out of creep camps. These gnolls and these gnolls are all that's left.
Players' forces are under attack.
So, as if we haven't seen much fighting now, we're going to see a lot more as the anti-magic shells are kicking in. He does have that mastery training, so if he wants to try, the Banshees can try to possess some of 120's units. Whereas the mastery training is still on the way for 120, as he is getting Sacrificial Pit. Maybe try to get some Shades, maybe even transition into some Frosties if the game goes really late.
Under siege. A player's forces are
Oh, and it looks like 120 is going to push into WFC's base here. Might try to force a TP. Alright, WFC is TPing in. Dark Ranger might get in a bad spot. Oh no, right on top of the Lich. The Lich does manage to get out though. Oh, he could have gotten a surround on that too, if he would have gotten that better TP position. And it looks like 120 will be backing off. Nice work forcing the TP out of WFC. That is 350 gold down the drain. It's pretty expensive investment, if I would say so myself. Alright, it looks like 120 is going around. Maybe try to go in for another little poke and prod. WFC is nearby, though, to defend. Where's his Death Knight? Death Knight picking up an invulnerability potion. Alright, well, WFC being defensive. He's like, you can't attack this base. Supply-wise is 55 for WFC versus 50 of 120. 120 banking a little bit under upkeep, whereas WFC did go into that low upkeep, so he is starting to lose some gold. How are the gold mines starting to look? Ooh, they're actually getting pretty low, so both these players, they either need to do some really good damage or they need to think about expanding soon. Alright. 120 continuing to be a nuisance. He's continuing to be a threat outside of WFC's base, forcing WFC really to stay and defend. As Nova goes down and Fiend does get coiled, the Dark Ranger did land a silence. Oh, but she's getting blocked up a little bit. Can WFC get the surround? No, he can't. She slips out. WFC once again pushing 120 away. Upgrades, it's 1-0 versus 2-0, so WFC with the upgrade advantage and the army advantage. This is not good. Alright, never mind. 120 breaking into that upkeep, getting into 58 food versus 65 though. WFC still with the bigger army. Although with 2 A-bombs in the mix, they are kind of beefy, large supply units. More and more anti-magic shells going down. The Shade of 120 is scouting all of this, so he does know that WFC is preparing for an assault. And 120's got to prepare for the fight of his life. Or his unlife, or whatever you want to call it. Alright, both players even on upgrades now. 2-0 versus 2-0 here. WFC just poking and prodding. Dark Ranger, WFC getting focused down a little bit. Does get coiled though. Alright, 120's going into this. We're going to see an engagement. Silence going down. Alright, Fiend was burrowed, but he does get killed due to 120 having his shade, so all the burrowed Fiends will be visible still. Alright, Nova going down from WFC, and it looks like 120's A-bomb getting caught in a bad spot. Does get coiled though. There's a lot of stuff going on here. A whole lot of stuff going on here right now. .120 WFC trying to find a nice position to get in that fight. Lands the silence down on 120's Lich. Alright, more destroyers coming in. My guess is they can't suck up that anti-magic shell. So at least I learned something here today. Alright, destroyer goes down from 120 and WFC just freaking trailblazing it. Level 3 on WFC's Dark Ranger. She is getting focused down. We'll use the invulnerability potion though. Alright, a coil going down. More Novas. Invuln pot being used by 120's Dark Ranger. And WFC's army is so much larger at this point. Alright, another Nova going down onto the Fiends. And all these curses on him too, giving him that weak. Oh, 120's forced TP in. Will he lose the Lich? No, the Lich stays alive for now. Can he get a coil? Does get the coil. WFC just being so good right now. 120's in a really defensive position right now. He's got to get the perfect position for this fight. And he's losing all of his production buildings too. All the production are pretty low, so if WFC could snipe him off, 120 won't be able to remake units, and it doesn't matter, his main gold mine's out. Both the players' main gold mines are out. WFC even gonna add some acolytes into the army. How much did he bank up? Not much. I thought he was gonna try to tower. I'm talking pretty fast, aren't I? Things are not looking good for 120 at the moment. Lich getting caught in a little bit of a bad spot. Death Knight does have some coils and a mana potion.
A player's forces are under attack.
Ghouls hacking and smacking at each other. I think 120's ghoul might win that fight. And until something happens here. Yeah. Yeah. Who's gonna win this? Oh, WFC's running away. You can't get away from me, boy. Oh. Don't worry, I'm keeping an eye on the minimap. Oh, looks like 120's going in for a little bit of engagement, though.
Players' forces are under attack.
Not sure if that was the greatest idea in the world. WFC's army is so much bigger at this point. Things are not looking good for 120 at the moment. And Chi-Chi's gonna be called. WFC taking a very nice victory. Sorry if I got loud. If you like this game, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want to watch me play Warcraft 3, follow me at Twitch at Thendis32, and I'll catch you guys later.